In this video here, I created 24 websites in 24 hours. I don't think those websites are secure. In fact, I know they're probably not. So in this video, we're gonna try and hack those websites. We'll do a little self-pen test, ethical hacking, on me, to see if I can find any vulnerabilities and hopefully fix them. Now, I'm not an ethical hacker, so when I'm done cosplaying, I'm gonna hand this over to a real ethical hacker, a real pen tester, my friend and fellow YouTuber, Tyler Ramsby. He just hacked it! Are you serious? He'll show us how to properly pen test our sites and make sure they're safe and secure. By the way, right now I'm making a French press. It's my go-to coffee brewing method. I make one of these every morning. The coffee grind is very coarse, and it produces a very kind of, gritty cup of coffee, which I enjoy. Gonna let it steep for a bit, kind of like tea. All right, it's been about 3 to 4 minutes. We can now push the plunger down, just a tad, not all the way, and then pour ourselves a nice, delicious, a little bit gritty cup of coffee. And shout out to Guardio for sponsoring this video, or guard.io. I'm not really sure how to say it. We'll talk more about them later, and maybe I'll say their name right. I better figure out how to say it right now. I just looked it up. It's Guardio. Okay, now we can start. Now again, I'm not an ethical hacker. I just play one on TV. I thought of that joke this morning. I hope it lands. Here we go. The first tool I want to try is called Nikto. I learned about this on Hack the Box Academy, the place I'm learning to become a hacker. This sucker will scan the actual server that my website lives on and look for vulnerabilities. It'll search for things like outdated server versions. Now, one thing is I don't know if it's gonna work. I'll explain. So it's a command line tool. We'll launch our terminal here. And the command will be Nikto. I'll do -H to specify my URL, which will be HTTPS. And I'll do one of my first websites I love, commentoftheday.tech. If you wanna see it, let me pull it up. It's really cool. It's a good comment. What it will do is actually reach out to YouTube via the YouTube API. Pick a random video from my catalog, and then pick a random comment and display it here. So it's one of your comments, maybe. Now the reason I think Nikto won't work is because I don't think it does well with TLS. And notice I'm having to specify a SSL, which we don't really use so much anymore. It's mainly TLS. But let's see what it does. Ready, set, pen test. Our Nikto seems pretty great at fingerprinting. Found the IP addresses, both IPv4 and IPv6. Pulled some DNS stuff, my certificate. And then it looks like it found a few issues, but I'm not sure if they're real ones. Like, not everything's an emergency, and I realize that. Let me see what they are. But scan was terminated with 20 errors because like I said, I think Nikto struggles with TLS. A quick Google search told me that it's kind of hard to get set up, or near impossible. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take all this and feed it into an LLM. Let's use Claude to keep things interesting. I'm gonna throw in my website code, and also here is a list of vulnerabilities. Do I need to fix this? Should I do? All right, let's see what happens. Low severity. Now, check this out. This is where I think AI is both good and bad for cybersecurity, because here I can quickly fix all the stuff that's wrong on my website by talking to an LLM. Now, is it perfect? Probably not. It was an LLM that originally made this code. So that's cool. So I can quickly get answers to my questions like, hey, is this a real serious issue if I don't already know it, or if I'm unsure? The other side of it is that hackers can also use an LLM to make more sophisticated attacks to make themselves more efficient. They can find vulnerabilities on a website much faster. Double-edged sword. So it found the missing header options, it added those for me. And then it went ahead and told me one thing that I know I'm gonna have to change. When Alex and I made these websites, we hard-coded our API keys right into the site, which means that anyone can see them and anyone can try to use them. So it's already given me recommendations. I don't wanna look at that just yet. That's gonna be for later. So essentially, really no changes need to be made on my code. All server-side stuff. Hostinger actually runs that server for me, so I don't have to worry about that. And they're all low priority issues. Now our next tool is way more exciting. It's called OWASP Zap. Just the name alone makes you want to use it. This one is also a free tool, and you have to see what it does. On Kali, it comes pre-installed. I'm just gonna launch it real quick via command line. ZA proxy. It's gonna be a little Java applet that pops up. There it is. Start. And I love having applications that have command line running in the background. Just feels nice, doesn't it? Now with OWASP Zap, I got a couple options. I could start into an automated scan, which will actually do all the work for me, but is way less fun. So we're gonna do manual explore. Put our URL in. HTTPS commentoftheday.tech. Make sure our HUD is enabled, our heads-up display, yes, like a video game, and then we'll launch our browser. Now, like, what the heck is going on? What do you mean launch our browser? It's doing something fun. Zap, with this browser, which is operating as a proxy, will sit in the middle between me, with my cup of coffee, obviously, and the website I'm visiting, which is commentoftheday.tech. Because I'm using its browser, it can see everything I'm doing as I interact with that website. And what's cool about that, which by the way is a kind of a version of a man-in-the-middle attack, except it's done for good, for my own good. And it's gonna watch as I interact with this website, hey, is there anything vulnerable about this situation? Could a hacker manipulate this? Is this a known vulnerability? So let's try it out. I'm gonna click on Launch Browser, and it's gonna navigate right to commentoftheday.tech. Check it out. So right now, it's already going through and doing things. It's already scraping some stuff. It already found problems. It knows I'm using a Google API. Ah, this is so fun, but check this out. Using my HUD, I can do a few things like right here on the side, I can specify that this website is in scope. Yes, add to the scope. Now, what does that mean? Well, when you're pen testing a site, you have to have permission. You can't just go out and use OWASP Zap on any website you want to. You gotta have permission, it's gotta be explicit. And because this is my website and I'm giving myself permission, I can put this site in my scope. You, however, cannot do this. You are not allowed to hack me. Let me get that out there because I know you're thinking that. Don't even click it. Stop it. You can visit it all you want. But anyways, it's now in scope. Notice I have all my flags found here. A few medium alerts, okay. I can go over here and start to spider crawl the site, which I think it already kind of did. I could do an Ajax spider, which, what the junk is that? I've heard of Ajax. I remember learning it at one point. Now I've forgotten it. Allows web pages to be updated asynchronously by exchanging data with the web server behind the scenes. let's try this. Explain Ajax in one sentence, simply. It said the same thing. Thanks a lot, AI. You can update data without reloading the entire page. Now we can also start an active scan. I'll go ahead and do that. I believe it's gonna go out and just scan for vulnerabilities. We can kind of see the log here, and we can see it happening over here in the terminal. I just looked for Heartbleed. But notice this is like automatic scanning. I'm not actually testing for vulnerabilities manually myself. I'm letting this program do that. A lot of hacking, ethical hacking, and bad hacking, not normal hacking, a lot of bad hacking does involve this process, at least initially. But it's not perfect, which is why I'm gonna have Tyler Ramsby do the rest for me, because I'm not gonna do anything beyond automatic stuff here. Let's see, it's 39% of the way through. We'll let that finish. Perfect time to sip some coffee. Scanner complete. Looks like we're still at just medium alerts. We'll look at those here in a sec. Actually, I'm curious right now. Let's look at them. There's that anti-click checking again, but the rest of the stuff I'm really not sure about. One more thing with Zap is you can go into attack mode, turn on, which I believe will constantly try to attack with known attacks as I'm browsing the site. So as I refresh, and if this site had any more to it, if I were to navigate around, it would try additional things. But notice it's like, I'm not even doing anything right now, and it's doing a lot of stuff in the background. So far, we've just been seeing server-side issues, which I don't manage, and they don't seem to be a big deal. So website's kind of safe so far. No high severity, nothing wrong with our code, which I haven't done like a code scan. We will do that here in a moment. Which, by the way, I've got the code because I wrote it, I have it somewhere else, or I didn't write it, AI did. But I can actually inspect this code. I believe we can just type in Control-U, yes, and we can see the code of the website right there. Now while we're here, I'm gonna do a few other websites I have. Actually, let's check everything and, oh look, it found the Reddit use. I mean, that's so cool, it finds everything. No high priority alerts, all the medium alerts seem to be no big deal. Oh, I can snapshot my session. I wanna save the snapshot. So, where I was, save. We'll move on from Zap. Now Zap is free, and I barely scratched the surface on how to use it, very cool, but I also have another tool that's more professional. This is Burp Suite, and I actually paid for Burp Suite Pro, which unlocks a lot of automated scanning, which I'm all about right now. Now I did pay for a license. It's not free, it's not cheap. Let's do a new scan. Do a web app scan, add our URLs. I'll do a few at a time. Okay, that should be good. Let's see, detailed scope information. We don't have to worry about that. And this is gonna crawl and audit. Let's go to scan config. I do want a deep scan, but let's see what the custom might have involved. We'll do a new auditing scan, which I think auditing is more involved. Let's see, our new scan is gonna check for SQL injection, a bunch of stuff. A lot of things I've never heard of, but I'm glad this tool has. JavaScript analysis. Yeah, let's use static analysis techniques. All right, cool. Let's save that. That's what we're using. Okay. Oh, it just started. Okay, let's go. All right, so we're on a comment of the day. It's crawling right now. No auditing just yet. Oh my gosh, and there it goes. This is so fun. So far, no big issues, more informational. But look at all the stuff it's trying. Similar to OWASP Zap, it's looking for these known vulnerabilities. Okay, so it found a bunch of things called XML injection on pretty much every site. Let's see what we're dealing with here. The URL path of folder 1 appears to be vulnerable to XML injection. So we need to sanitize user inputs. It's so cool though, like it's showing you the request, the response, path to the issue. That's so cool. All right, let's see what Claude has to say. Another server-side thing. So nothing to do with my code. Again, this is handled by Hostinger, so it's not a big deal for me, as long as I trust what they're doing, and I do. To a point. Never trust someone fully. Well, tech fully. Now, full disclosure, I'm very new at using Burp Suite. And as you can tell, there's a lot of knobs to turn and buttons to press that I'm just not sure about how to use right now, or confident to even try. Hey, there's a Learn tab. I should really spend a lot more time there. But it's cool that you can just come in and automatically scan something, which is what I did. It also has a feature that's called a new live task, which will do a similar thing to Zap. And I go over here and open up the browser, the Burp browser, and it will live audit as I go to these sites. 0% authentic? Ouch. I should add the video it's talking about. Need to add that feature. Now I can also install extensions like retire.js. Integrates Burp with the retired.js repository to find vulnerable JavaScript libraries. Oh, look at that. It almost immediately found something. Vulnerable version of the library Axios. And that's a high severity issue. Okay, I need to fix that. Yeah, that's a legit thing. That's crazy, that's so cool. Yeah, all I have to do is update the script source. So I'm gonna update it now and see if it breaks anything. That should be all I need to do. Save it. Let's go back to Burp. Let's see if my comment of the day still works. It does, cool. Now let's do a new scan and see if it finds it. See if we fixed our issue. Scan complete and that vulnerability is patched. Okay, that was kind of cool. Now, by the way, that retire.js extension that I added to Burp here, you could actually use as a independent tool. You can download from GitHub, install it, and use it. But I've got it right here in Burp. Now, hacking requires a lot of coffee, so it's time for a coffee break. This coffee break is sponsored by Guardio. Linus Tech Tips, their Twitter account just got hacked. My buddy John Hammond just covered it, and he found the website that did it. It was a phishing website. So where does Guardio come in? It helps stop stuff like this. They have a mobile app and a browser extension that'll help prevent these types of things. They actually gave me a free membership to Guardio Premium. I'm gonna try it right now. Add to Chrome. Cool. Guardio's been added. Giving it all the permissions it needs. I have 2 active threats. What? Some personal data leaks. Inbox is good. Yeah, mainly data leaks. Don't like that. So I get removal of current threats, protection from new risks, and notifications about unusual activity. I like that. So I can download the app, it'll send me real-time security alerts anytime, anywhere. Okay, that's pretty cool. So here's where Guardio would have saved Linus. Every time you visit a website, it'll check and scan the website, ensuring you stay safe from scams and identity theft. It also would help Linus Tech Tips. I'm like dogging on Linus right now. Sorry, Linus. But dude, you keep getting hacked. It's gonna look at your emails and go, you know what? Hey, that's kind of fishy. You may think you're pretty tech savvy, but you're human too, I think. Are you a human? Now what I love too is scan my extensions. I love installing extensions to make things work great in my browser, but people will upload malicious extensions to the Google Chrome store all the time. Your browser, is it safe? Do you know that? Even if you think it's safe, I think it's worth a little checkup. And Guardio does give you basic protection for free. But if you want those sites to be blocked and you want email security and all this stuff, you can use my link below and get 20% off your monthly subscription. And that covers up to 5 family members. Now I do have a few WordPress websites, which WordPress, no stranger to vulnerabilities. One of them is pineappleonpizzarightnow.com. It's making me hungry immediately. Again, I'm no expert on how to pen test WordPress sites, but I do know a few tools we can use for automation. One of those is WP Scan, which I think I probably already have installed in Kali by default. Let's do WP Scan, --URL, HTTPS, pineappleonpizzarightnow.com. That's exhausting URL. And then I'll do the enumerate VP, which I forget what that means. Oh, it enumerates a list of vulnerable plugins. Yeah, that's what it's doing. Let's try it out. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna stop it. I forgot I have an API key that I can use from my top hacking commands video. And we'll add a few more switches that are fun. Let's try it out. Oh, look at this. Burp has WordPress scanning extensions too. Okay, that's cool. We could have used Burp. So WordPress is done. I don't think it found anything crazy. It found my WordPress theme. I'm not using any crazy plugins or anything, so. And honestly, most of my websites are pretty simple and basic. No user logins, no crazy back-end things, although one of them does have a MySQL database. Did I test that one? Let me make sure I test that one. This website's a fun one. It's NetworkChuckQuote.com, I think. And you get a random quote from one of my videos, but the way I do that is I have a bunch of quotes in a MySQL database that it pulls from randomly. So let's do a new scan real quick and do all the stuff. Now I still have one big problem, and that's my API keys. Currently they are plain text right in the stinking middle of my code that anyone can see. You visit that website, you can see my API key. Not a good thing. So how do I hide these API keys? This turned out to be kind of a tricky thing. I thought it'd be basic. And when I asked ChatGPT and Claude, like, how do I do this? They wanted me to set up this API endpoint backend on the server and have it handle that for me. And I'm like, I don't want to start doing that right now. I don't have time for this. I don't have time to spin up Node.js and stuff. So I told it to do something more simple. And I said, okay, here, do this. This is interesting. My front end, my HTML code, will no longer be handling the API request. Instead, it's going to talk to a back-end script, a PHP script called getComment. It's here that my API key will live. And this script itself on the back-end server is what will be used to interact with the Google API, pulling down the data, and then it shares that data back with my HTML front end. Now, I think that might solve my problem. I think that's secure. Tyler will probably tell me. Fingers crossed, it works. 2 more things I want to do. First, I want to use a Sast, static application security testing. Snyk is one of my go-tos. They connect right up to your GitHub. I've got a few of my websites already in there. I want to see if I can have it scan it real quick. I'm going to add a project from my GitHub, and this will actually scan my code. Let's see, where is it at? There it is. And we'll add selected repositories, and it's gonna do the thing. We'll see what happens. Okay, so while that's importing, I wanna do something fun for Tyler. Amidst the websites, I wanna purposely create a very, very insecure website. I'm sure he's gonna love this. I'm gonna do it real quick. I'm gonna spin up a random server somewhere on the internet. I'll use Linode. We're gonna get this thing hacked like crazy. I hope that Tyler can get to it before someone else does. All right, I'm connected. Let's make this bad boy insecure. We'll install the LAMP stack. Now, let's do a little update first. We are not gonna secure our MariaDB. Leave it a default. We'll allow root login. What am I, Scooby-Doo? We're gonna allow root login. Let's see, bind address, we're gonna find that. We're gonna change the bind address to anything, not just local. Save that. Restart MariaDB. Log into MariaDB. We'll make sure that root has no login. This is so cursed. That's what the kids say, right? And let's create a super vulnerable PHP application. This will allow some SQL injection. We'll create an exposed admin panel. Allow some insecure file uploads. This is kind of fun. I hope it all works, and I hope it all doesn't work. Create an insecure API. Open permissions wide up, or wide open. This is cool. We'll expose some sensitive files. Oh wait, gotta install Git. Make sure our firewall is disabled. Oh, not even installed. And we'll create some passwords in plain text and MariaDB. Let's go see if that worked. Okay, so it's working. I don't know what's wrong with this site. It's so, I'm sure it's super vulnerable. Let's make it look pretty. All right, got the URL. I created this for you.tech. Perfect. I'm curious, what's it gonna do when we scan this site ourselves? I may show this part, I'm not sure. I may just let you see Tyler's scanning. All right, let's see. Let's do a web app scan. Yeah, it's found us some stuff. Let's see what Tyler finds. All right, looking back at Snyk, our Sast. Yeah, it found the hard-coded secrets, the API keys. Found some cross-site scripting. Unsanitized input, gotta fix that. Hard-coded credentials. Okay, that's not too bad. It didn't find too many things. So that's all the pen testing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hand it over to Tyler right now. Go for it, Tyler.
Now, the first issue that we have is these are a lot of websites for us to manually go to and see what is running on them. So the first tool I want to introduce you to is a tool called Go Witness.
Go Witness. I've never heard of this. I'm so excited to watch this and see what a real hacker does.
So let's give it a shot. We will do Go Witness, file-f, and host.txt. Hit enter. So we have a lot of interesting hosts here, but the first thing I want you to see is instead of manually going to each one of those websites, Go Witness allowed us to really quickly get a screenshot of every single website and to dig into it.
So this is cool. Go Witness is, I've heard of it, I've never used it before, and that's stinking awesome. Anyways, let's keep going.
The other tool I want to run right away is a tool called Nuclei. What Nuclei does is it does a very quick scan of all the websites and looks for any low-hanging bugs that we might be able to exploit. So Nuclei, list, and then host.txt is our file, and we will hit enter. And right now it's not finding anything too interesting. You can see by the info right here. If this would just say low, medium, or high, we would definitely want to dig into it. But right now it's just info, giving us some information about the domains and the websites and what is running on them, but nothing that we can really exploit, at least at the moment. So let's get hands-on. Let's do some hands-on enumeration on these websites. There's a few different tools you can use. You could use Burp Suite, you could use OWASP Zap, but I want to showcase...
I use Burp Suite and OWASP Zap, but he's about to say something else. Here we go.
Maybe a lesser known tool called Guardio. Now Guardio, it doesn't rate limit you on a bunch of requests. So even the free version of Guardio, I think, is a little more accessible than Burp Suite Community Edition. So let's open up Guardio. I have it right here.
This is so cool. I love this.
Instance. And here we have the built-in web browser for Guardio. And let's just check out some of these hosts and we'll treat it like a pen test. Let's go ahead and dive into the website if it wants to load. And it failed. That's interesting. There is a chance, and maybe NetworkChuck was smart, and because of all the scanning that we are doing, there's a chance our IP might actually be blocked on ilovejohnhammond.com and some of these other hosts. But here's the thing. Just blocking me based on IP isn't going to do a whole lot for me. I'm guessing Nuclei, as it was hitting these things, there's a good chance there might be a firewall on the back end saying, look, someone is scanning us. This is not looking good for us. So as a result, we can just set up a VPN and we'll dig into it. So give me just a moment. So we're going to turn this on and let's just switch our IP. Let's see who we can become. So we'll switch our IP over to 7.4. Let's go ahead and see if that makes any type of difference on this domain. And we were IP blocked. So The first step of taking us down was not successful. Our IP was blocked, but we're hackers. We do have a contact page, so we can try this out. What I like to do when I see a contact page is let's just see where the request goes. So what is my full name? I am Tyler Ramsby. My email is please subscribe at hacksmarter.org, not a real email. And hello, I'm a elite hacksaw. There we go. And over in Guardio, let's go ahead and turn on queuing so we can see what this looks like.
So what he's doing here is he's actually intercepting these requests being sent, and he's analyzing what can happen. That's really neat.
And we will send our message. We'll jump over to Guardio, and we can see the first one is just an options request, so we can forward that. And this next one is a little more interesting. I'm going to jump that over to replay here. And this is a post request to actually Hostinger right here. So if we didn't know Hostinger was on here yet, we know it now that that is what is running on here. So we could do some research in any vulnerabilities on their platform, but I doubt there's gonna be anything public. And one big thing to keep in mind when you're a pen tester is what's in scope for us is this website, ilovejohnhammond.com. This website right here technically is not in scope. And the difference between a pen tester and someone who ends up in prison is pen testers pay attention to scope.
See what I tell you about scope?
One thing I like to do on these websites, and we might get IP blocked again, is do some directory enumeration. So if we went back out here, it's gonna try things like admin, right? It's gonna say, hey, does admin work? And if it works, it's gonna tell us. I might try something like secret. And it's gonna try a bunch of different words to say, hey, this might be a directory that the developer or Chuck left available without realizing it. We might be able to get some juicy information doing that. So let's give it a shot. We'll do dir search -u to pass it our URL, and we'll just do threads of 10 so we don't accidentally like DOS the website and take it down.
Directory enumeration. It's kind of what we're doing with Burp Suite and with Zap, where we're kind of crawling or spidering the different places we can get to on the site.
And so far, nothing interesting there. I'm gonna go ahead and stop that. Maybe there's something there, but I'm impatient. And let's just hit this Pomodoro timer next to see if there's anything interesting on the Pomodoro timer. And then we will go ahead and keep checking out the next host. And this is exactly how I do it on like an external pen test with a bunch of hosts. I just pick one at a time and I go and enumerate the next one while I'm scanning the previous ones. What color is this.tech? We have an image color analyzer, and it's all JavaScript based again, because you can see nothing happen here. So it's all JavaScript. See if there's anything that just stands out to me as I glance through this quickly. And there's not much. You might be able to get some cross-site scripting via an SVG file. So we can do like SVG XSS payload.
Look at this guy, just searching for a cross-site scripting vulnerability.
SVG is an image file, but it allows you to execute JavaScript. I actually have a CVE with this in Go CMS. So let's go over to our terminal, and I'm gonna open up a new tab, and we'll do nano xss.svg, paste it in there. But instead of this, we'll just do like Hack Smarter will be our payload. I'm gonna go ahead and save that. We'll go back over to our website.
You just got a payload going. I love this.
We'll do all files. We have xss.svg, and I will click send. We could try to open the image in a new tab. And technically, I mean, I don't even know if this would count as cross-site scripting because it's just on this data image, but we do have what color is this.tech says, hack smarter. So technically, in some ways, it's executing JavaScript. So this would be possibly considered reflected cross-site scripting. My only hesitancy is we're not actually on the page. I bet if I refresh this again, yeah, it just says this page says. We'll just count that. We'll count that as a win. We have some maybe reflected cross-site scripting on this page.
Hey, I count that. He did something, because these websites are very basic. I'm not doing anything crazy. But if these are real and I was really trying to run a company and maybe I had a back-end site and I was just doing, you know, more real company stuff, he might have a way to get in and hack me.
Just dive into pineapple on pizza right now. What is going on here? Oh, so this is interesting. This website is running on WordPress.
Yeah, he figured out it's on WordPress like almost immediately. And you know, normally you would use a tool like Nikto or WhatWeb to find out what's on it. He just knew.
The reason that's important is let me show you a few things that we can do. Real quickly, we can go to wplogin.php and we're able to enter the login page, and this tells us whether or not a username is invalid. So we can do some username enumeration here. So if I do, for example, Tyler@hacksmarter.org and password 123, same password as my bank account, and I hit login. Oh, we got cookies are blocked. I don't think they're blocked. You don't know what you're talking about. Let me just intercept that. Maybe there's something weird going on. Oh, we have a WordPress test cookie. But you can see we have some enumeration here. I think if I stop queuing this, can I go back to this? Unknown email address, please check again or try your username. Here's the thing, I bet if I use this email address, we get a different error message. So generally speaking, you don't want your WordPress login page just exposed to the world. This should have an IP allow list on it so that only certain IPs can hit this, because username enumeration is a known issue with WordPress. So if I type in this email, this hostinger, and any password we want,
so make sure you block your WordPress admin page. IP block it anyway, meaning only allow your IPs to be able to access it and no one else. Stop them at the firewall. My shoulder just popped. Blech.
I bet we get a different response, which we do. The password you enter for the email is incorrect, lost your password. We could go ahead and just spam Chuck with some password reset messages, go back to our login page, but there's a lot more we can do in WordPress. There's a tool called WP Scan.
Hey, we use that.
So let me go ahead and show you that real quick. WP Scan URL, and let's grab our URL from here, pineapple on pizza right now, like so, and hit enter. It's going to update the database. You can also pass it an API key to try to automatically find CVEs. I'm not going to do that, but in a real pen test, I would do something like that. So let's see some of the information it already found. We'll scroll up here. You don't want to be telling me the PHP version on the page, but we have it right here. This is PHP 8.2.16. You don't want to be revealing this to any possible attackers, because what they can do is we can go like this and type in exploit, and we'll see if there's anything for it. So we have 8.2.16. Let's pull this up. So that's one of the reasons we won't go hands-on these. I don't think these would affect this application because of how it's set up, but that's one of the reasons you don't want to display version information in the response, because let's say there was a more serious vulnerability. Well, you just made it really easy for me as the attacker or threat actor to pwn your web server. We have WordPress running on Hostinger, which you've already looked at a little bit. On the H panel, we have robots.txt that's saying, hey, you don't want these things exposed. The WP admin, which is just another login page for the admin user, and the admin ajax.php. The XML RPC seems to be enabled. That would allow us to, I believe, brute force usernames and passwords better. I can even show you that in a little bit. We have the WordPress README found, which you really should not have this enabled, Chuck, because this gives me a little more information about what is running on your website. This is a default README for WordPress. You can see it right here.
Yikes, I'm telling a lot of information to the possible hackers. Oh no.
There's some other cool things you can do on here, and one of the best resources I recommend for people to check out is Hacktricks. If you want to get into pen testing, CTFs, anything like that, Hacktricks is an incredible website.
Hacktricks is a lot. Like, it has so much stuff on there, it's insane.
We already discovered a lot of this information on the main WordPress site. We have uploads. We could see if that is listable. We have the WP config, but that's post exploitation. We can get WordPress version information, get plugins. So WP Scan is doing a lot of this automatically for us. We can try to get users. So this is one way you can do users. You can brute force the ID. It starts with 1 on here. 1 is usually the admin user. Jump back down to here. If there was multiple users, we could probably get all the users by hitting this WP JSON endpoint like so. And there you go. We could get all the users if there is more than one, but we see the hostinger at networkchuck.com.
That's so cool. You just found a way to find all the users on that site.
What movie am I watching tonight? Well, I don't know, but let's turn on queuing before we check. And I already see something interesting. It is passing an API key in the URL, which would allow me to reuse this API key however I want.
He found the API key we have immediately. So fast.
So here's how this could be abused by an attacker if there's no rate limiting in place. What we could do, and I'm not going to do this, but I could send this request over to Automate, and I can maybe demonstrate this a little bit. But if I send this request over to Automate, we could just spam this API key. I'm going to go ahead and copy it as well. Well, let me clear this. Let me copy it first. We'll copy it, then we'll add it, and we'll do our payload as a simple list. Right? And I could just copy all this and just paste this a bunch of times, up to 1,000 to spam this API key. And we'll just do 20, we'll do 40 actually, just to see if there's any rate limiting on this endpoint. And if not, we could essentially denial of service NetworkChuck's API key here to stop this web app from working, because if he's using the free version, once we hit 1,000, this website's not gonna work for anybody else. So we are taking away the availability of the website. So you think of the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, availability. This would be attack on the availability availability of this web service that is running. So we'll set that up. We'll go ahead and click run, and we'll see if there's any rate limiting. It doesn't look like it. You can see all of our requests were successful based on the length, and we could go ahead and spam this and denial of service this web service so that nobody else could use this what movie am I watching.
That's kind of amazing. A DOS attack using an exposed API key. Oh, he's getting to the website that I created for him, and let's see what he does with it.
So we have a login page. So this is interesting. This is one I definitely want to hit with dir search. So we'll do dir search -u, that t, should I do 10? No, I'll do 5. So we have user input here. Anytime I have user input, the first thing I try to do is HTML injection. Can I inject HTML into the comments? So let's try that. Please subscribe like so, and we will hit submit.
Do you see that? That was cool.
And that's actually a finding. So if we were doing a pen test, it would be a low finding because I don't think this stays. Yeah, so it would just be reflected or self cross-site scripting.
Okay, so it's only temporary.
Oh, this is very interesting. So we have a .env, which is an environment variable, and .get being exposed, which is a big no-no. You don't want to expose that to the public because people could do like git log and then possibly look at commit history to find secrets. But let's see what's in this .env. So we'll just go directly to this. Ooh. We have, ladies and gentlemen, a database password we have discovered, root password. Was there anything else interesting on here? We have an admin.php, an api.php, and an upload.php. So that's also interesting. Let's grab the admin.php. What is on this page? Unauthorized access. All right, well, let's do root and root password from what we found, and that doesn't work. Admin. Oh, welcome admin. Oh, admin. That's the password. We authenticated. I don't know what that does for us. Like if I...
Yeah, I didn't code anything for it to do, but he did figure out the password. It was just admin. Pretty basic stuff, but...
What's secretprize.tech? Countdown to a secret. 7 days. And it's using JavaScript, which means it's client side. I bet I can literally just modify my time and see what the secret is. I don't know if this will work, but I think it's worth a shot. Let me unlock it here, type in the password, and let's jump it to 13th. Hit close, there.
He just hacked it. Are you serious?
It's nothing though.
Yeah, I haven't put the secret code in yet. Hackers are so cool. He just hacked my countdown. I gotta go tell Alex. All right, I told Alex. That was fun.
All right, coffee brewing calculator. Let's select drip. Let's select 1337 people because we're hackers, and it gives us all the information. And let's take a look at the JavaScript. Open redirect vulnerability, added for demonstration purposes. Constant redirect, new URL search parameter. Oh, so would it be something like equals, hey, that's actually a solid finding because that's reflected cross-site scripting that we could send in like a phishing email to get someone to enter in credentials, right? Whenever I find an open redirect, I do try cross-site scripting first because that increases the impact. But even if you can't do that, you can send someone to a malicious website. So let's say I wanted to send someone to hacksmarter.org, like so, and I would send them this URL. They think they're on howtomakeyourcoffee.tech, but when they go to this URL, it's actually going to send them over to hacksmarter.org. We'll go back over to here, but that's just showing the open redirect. If you can do a URL, great, but if you can do JavaScript, even better, because then you turn the open redirect into cross-site scripting. That's a helpful tool for a pen test or a bug bounty. If you can turn an open redirect into cross-site scripting on a bug bounty, you just increase the money you're going to make quite a bit compared to a traditional open redirect.
That's so cool. Now, I know we just kind of nested that in there accidentally, but that's a real thing. It was fun to watch him walk through that.
But there we go. Chuck made 24 websites in 24 hours. I just hacked 24 websites or enumerated them in an hour and 40 minutes. So I should get my own t-shirt for that. We found some version enumeration. We found some cross-site scripting. We found a lot of secret phrases. We found a database password. We bypassed an admin page at some point in time with admin and admin. We found a .get exposed to the internet. So some honestly pretty serious security misconfigurations if these are public-facing production websites. But hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully we were able to do a little bit of hacking. You learned something through this part of the video. So, hey, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler, for doing that for us. Please go subscribe to Tyler. All his links are below. That's all I got. I'll see you guys in the next one.